Hello, welcome and welcome back. This is Jacob and today we are gonna be continuing the narration and character voice acting for the main story of Arknights, episode 12, All Quiet Under the Thunder. And as always, to anybody who is new to these narrations, these videos and the channel itself, if you want a more detailed explanation as to where to go and how to consume especially the main story and what else connects to it, in the Part 1 of episode 12's narration, which came out just before this video, and whose playlist you can find in the description of this video, of course, is a more detailed explanation as to how to go about and what all of your options pretty much in existence are to get caught up, either quick or slow, depending on how you wanna tackle it. So please refer to that episode for that if you're new to Arknights. But considering this is part 2 now for episode 12, we shall do the quick recap, but before we do so, as always, thank you very much for all the likes of the previous part, and the comments as well, of course. As I always say, all of those help a lot in the algorithm to have these videos pushed out to more people, to be seen by more eyes, essentially, so thank you very much, and may I please have some more, sir? Sorry, but yeah, anyway. Thank you very much. But anyway, we shall do a quick recap now, and if you want to skip ahead, as always, I leave a pinned comment below with a timestamp, which will drop you off immediately at the beginning of today's part. But in the meantime, on the previous part, we began episode 12 with a very random conversation on one of the high-speed land battleships of one of the dukes, which is cruising around Londinium, patrolling essentially, and we see the conversation taking place between a more of a newbie soldier and a veteran soldier as they are just discussing stuff and the leave that the young soldier will go on in the next coming days. And as the conversation finishes and the young soldier goes under deck, suddenly the ship gets blown to smithereens. Like, the entire ship. And we are not talking about, you know, your average-sized real-world equivalent of a battleship here. We're talking about a thing that is called a battleship, but is on threads, on land, very wide, very long, very much bigger than a normal battleship, and it got blown into nothingness. And as we've seen, or rather heard later on, pretty much no one on the ship survived. And where did the shot come from? Well, it came from the airship that was revealed at the end of chapter 11 that the sarkaz have built above Londinium. And that cannon packs a punch. If that is the same cannon that is like placed, or maybe an even powerful version that is usually placed on the outer walls of a mobile city, then oh boy, I am terrified now of those cannons. Those pack really a punch. But anyway, the scene then shifts to the reunion members led by 9, who are approaching Londinium as the story is proceeding. 9 is leading a group of reunion members to Londinium to reconnect with some of the reunion members that are in Londinium currently, and no contact is being had with them, but they are gonna rejoin and find them, even if they have denounced the fact that they are and were reunion members. And of course, because 9 is overseeing Tallulah, Tallulah is very much with them, and boy oh boy, this is gonna be a meeting of people at some point. But anyway, we shall see how that proceeds at some point probably. But then we shift our scene and we see more of a tactical look at things as the dukes are now moving into position, and we also see the Duke of Castor, who is in conversations with one of her subordinates about the current state of affairs and what needs to be done to proceed further. We then swap to a completely another group as we finally get introduced to the Glasgow members who we've only heard about, and I'm not talking about the group that is with Siege, aka Indra, Morgan, and so on. I'm talking about the members that have been left behind in Londinium. We get to meet characters like Cater, Baird, and Delphine, and one other member who was in the whole commotion there as well, prior to us meeting or seeing the Glasgow members, who didn't get named yet, but we'll see who that is probably at some point as well. We then proceed to see Golding, who is composing a letter addressed to Heidi, addressing her worries and such, and then gets interrupted by the appearance of Molly. One quick reminder, the Molly that is appearing obviously there is not the actual one, it is the imposter Damazi who is taking the guise of Molly, and is extracting just pretty much information from Golding. Molly, question mark, hands over a piece of parchment to Golding, which she recovered apparently from one of the places she went to, but the parchment contains very delicate information about the Self-Salvation Corps, and Golding, upon seeing that, immediately realizes that Letu has a lot of information on the Corps, and immediately gives Molly another set of locations that presumably are the bases that she figure out where they could be just by movement of goods, and gives it pretty much to Molly. And Molly, well, as we know, is an imposter, now holds the details of pretty much every single base of the Resistance members. We then switch scenes yet again, now to our Resistance members, or rather to the current HQ, where the Self-Salvation Corps is located, together with the Rhode Island team. They are currently discussing how things are standing, what needs to be done. They're injured, discussing the current state of kal'tsit. We hear that kal'tsit is still unconscious, even though she seems to be stable, but Monster as well is slowly recovering and self-repairing itself. But as the conversation is ongoing, suddenly we get a bunch of radio calls in. We hear that pretty much every single base of the Resistance members is being hit, and the hit also happens here at the HQ, and everybody scrambles and breaks up in smaller teams as they head out to different portions of the city to either get the wounded out or to recover other people. The wounded, for example, will be heading out to outside of the city to leave Londinium for a while and reorganize themselves. Meanwhile, Golding reaches Colonel Letu, and the two of them do have a small bit of discussion, reminiscing about the past and Gaul's history, and how it is very similar to what is happening right now. But Letu is not really giving in there, and he's pretty much poking at Golding and trying to lower her psychological defenses, essentially, through the conversation. Meanwhile, as the split of teams from the Rhode Island and Salvation Corps members are heading in different ways, the one that is comprised of the Doctor, Amiya, Ascalon, and the Siege team are pretty much getting surrounded the entire way through and do not really have a way out. But in the last moment, they do get informed by a disembodied voice of where to go to escape the current kerfuffle. They do decide to listen to it, as the Doctor says, and they pretty soon reach a illusionary wall constructed by Arts and go through it. After that, they meet an individual by the name of Trilby Asher. At least that's the way he introduces himself. He has some very, very fancy gizmos and arts with him that are allowing him to weave illusions around. And as we see, Ascalon is not really having it with the guy and is about to attack him, even doing a quick little countdown. But in the last second, as she's about to strike, she gets interrupted by the appearance of none other than Ines. Ines, as a quick reminder, has been a Rhode Island operator for a long time, but she has been also undercover for a long time. shadowing the sarkaz movements and theresis for quite some time. But we do also get to see a small little brief moment in which the current doctor and Ines get reacquainted with each other as they talk and discuss that, yes, Ines has met the doctor, the current doctor has not met Ines, but Ines does pose a interesting question to the doctor, and it is very interesting to hear her say that, comparing it to when kal'tsit said it in the past, and that is the question of, do you really not remember anything? With a very, like, sort of halfway confused kind of way of both saying it and the look of a bit of suspicion on the eyes that they chose for the model there for that question. And it is interesting, if you do remember from Dark Knight's memoir, how her powers work, and that the fact that she can with her eyes see a person's sort of true nature in their shadow. So if she's actually, with a bit of confusion, asking the doctor, do you really not remember? That is a pretty big question coming from her compared to kal'tsit, who I do not think has any kind of that kind of you know, power. But that's a discussion for another day. We'll see what comes of that. But anyway, in another place we see Logos with one of the other teams, who spots one of the fake mollies running around and immediately goes into pursuit and confronts one of the many clones of, or shards of, however you want to call them, of the Matzi, or rather the Matzi cluster. And we also get to learn from that conversation that Logos has been very active and has been very much killing a lot of these clones running around. And apparently they never end. Just newer clones keep appearing. But we do also then get treated to another scene in Lorport Borough, where the Glasgow gang members are, as the situation is getting more tenser as time progresses, considering that the civilians there are all isolated, they have no supplies coming in for them, as in food and anything else, and the situation is getting tense. People are pretty much just rioting and slaughtering each other for any kind of resource. Meanwhile, Feist and Rock reach the factory in which Catherine, Feist's grandmother, is working at to locate any survivors. They do run into one of the workers there, who has, with other survivors, retreated deeper into the underground to one of the safe locations, and confirms that Catherine is fine and that she is obviously worried about Feist and waiting for them to come along. Meanwhile, we also see that the Doctor very readily quickly agrees to cooperate with Thirlby Asher without really too much of a thought. So, I mean, what else could they have done? They needed help, and any help was kind of welcome at that point. But we ended our episode last time with a conversation that will go one or the other way. And that is Molly, who arrived at, well, the imposter Molly, who arrived at the location where Golding and Letu are having their conversation. And we have seen that the imposter finally revealed themselves in front of Golding. And Golding was very much taken aback, because you can only figure that at that point, she knew she fucked up. And that is where we left off. So then, shall we proceed into today's part? So, today we shall be covering the story from stage number 5, where we obviously left off, all the way over here to stage number 10. Now, this might seem like a lot of stages, but I would also like to tell you right now that every single one of these has either a before, after, before, after, before, after part. So essentially we are going to be covering effectively 3 stages worth of story. A lot of progression visually, but story-wise we are kind of similar on what we were last time. But anyway, oh, and of course also after we finish the story on part 7, we are going to be covering the next entry here in our little cleaners collection. which obviously got unlocked from this one. But anyway, let us begin on stage number 5, titled Brittle Steel. A reed survives the fierce gales, while a mighty oak topples. The old workers seem to know this well.
So this is all the Londinium Citizen Self-Salvation Corps men who evacuated the city. We suffered greater losses than I imagined.
Some decided to stay. Even though the sarkaz destroyed our stronghold, that doesn't mean they have a list of our collaborators. We don't know exactly how bad the leak was, and a lot of our men think things aren't really that bad yet.
They still pretend they can go back to their quiet, peaceful lives. Can't they see we have nowhere to run? Don't say that, Rock. Most of them aren't fighters. They are just willing to place their hopes on us. Most of the people who stand with us aren't. Soldiers who don't know who they should be loyal to, journalists who lost their jobs, workers sick of sarkaz exploitation, normal folk who have had enough. The Londinium Citizen Self-Salvation Corps were formed by men like them. To leave Londinium, the place that we called home since we were born, is a lot more than delivering intel, forging a few weapons, and fighting the sarkaz mercenaries. It's to find where you belong in a real war with no end in sight, and may end up dragging any number of people into actual turmoil. This is truly horrible. This is our Londinium. We should rely on no one but ourselves to defend it. And that's what we used to think at first. We thought we had been giving it our all to fight that horror. But when it finally arrived, it turned out to be far more than we could actually bear. To tell the truth, I don't know what fate has in store for us from here onwards. We have some new friends now, but the enemy has now truly bared their fangs. We may soon find ourselves annihilated, become wandering ghosts that drift the wilderness, and in the end disperse all over. Clovicia, stop being so gloomy. I came here only because I don't want to be handed a liberation by anyone. That's why we are all here. I'm a worker. I'm not one to talk about righteousness. All I know is that the workpieces I knock out are the most trustworthy. I want to save my city from those people hiding in the places and castles. I can't do it alone, but I found you. If we don't have what it takes together, we'll unite more people. If we still fall in the end, then fine. I'll accept that outcome. Hey, Rock, we're still far from talking about outcomes. Now hurry up and walk faster. A stinking passageray like this isn't good for your wounded man's health.
Right, the air in the countryside should be better than inside Londinium. Based on Rhode Island's analysis, we should enter a branch of the sarkaz's supply line up ahead.
We're back.
Granny, what is the situation like?
It's safe. We didn't run into any sentries, and there are no signs of patrols. It looks to be a maintenance access. There are some instruments there, although I have the faintest idea what they're for. But it's strange, we couldn't find where the real supply line was. Nonetheless, the access should be more than enough for an evacuation right now. Now hurry up, boy. Have your little friends get off their arses. A moment of safety doesn't mean peace forever.
Okay, I got it.
I'll take a look at the equipment we took. There might be something we can put to use. The crawlers that got written off might still be usable, if luck's on our side.
Granny, it's not that I don't believe in what we're doing. I'm not losing heart over this setback. We can come back, right?
What kind of answer do you want me to give you?
I've been cheering everyone up, but I've never really left this place myself. On top of that, we're leaving the city.
Feist, I used to think every so often that we're actually pretty lucky. We were born in the city, we have trustworthy friends and jobs that are worth doing. And at the Weekends, we can even head to the pubs in the alleys for a pint, and play some cards, and maybe win some change. Of course, Victoria has never been truly at peace. The things we make are sent to the border region to fight the Sargonians or the Lithanians and blast holes in their bodies, not that it has anything to do with us. All we had to do was stay in the factory and turn screws on the iron blocks. We suffered pain too, and we had scars that would never heal, but we never had to worry about who to kill, or we will be killed by tomorrow. At the very least, we could live, or at least pretend to. When the sarkaz came, our lives got a little harder. When the factories were handed over, our lives got harder again. But the way I see it, I consider us still more or less lucky enough.
Just what is your definition of lucky enough?
Being able to stand here and talk about the past. But now our luck has come to an end. No one can keep winning the lottery forever. But so what? Most people aren't lucky at all, and they still manage to find themselves a way out. Now go back to work, big deal in the Corps. The chopper isn't going to pack itself up. Do what you should do, just as you promised me back then. Now what did you say back then? I will walk into every night...
Enough, Granny. I was still,
regretting your lies now?
No. I will do it. I will still do it.
Times like these, you look just like Harvey.
Catherine looks at Feist with a sidelong glance before disappearing into the crowd. All around Feist, men dressed in all kinds of attire come and go. All of them are exhausted, but not a single one of them has given up. Feist knows that all those who stand here are his most trustworthy allies. This little comfort is better than nothing. As the idea crosses his mind, Feist breathes out a little and exercises his stiff arm after having been on edge for so long. Once the mist fog that we call opportunities, luck, and other nouns disperses, what form will life take this time? Feist decides to stop speculating and to instead experience it himself.
Feist, the wounded are all in position. Now we just have to take the maintenance access and leave Londinium, and we'll be safe for the time being. We'll rebuild Squad 11 of the Self-Salvation Corps when the time comes, right?
Of course, I promise you. Let's go. Suddenly, Feist feels a faint tremor.
What's going on?
In the distance, the exit and entrance of this underground structure gradually begin to close at the same time.
Why is the passage getting sealed off? Did the sarkaz find us? Damn it, Catherine and Clovicia are both over at the entrance. No, I've been listening in on the sarkaz communication channels around us. We shouldn't be exposed. It can't be a wiring problem, right?
No, these passageways have manually controlled gates. I checked before entering, and I didn't see any problems with the drive system. Feist has very good eyes, and he has always been very proud of this fact. This is pretty rare in the factories, where lighting is always needed for the workers to actually do anything. Yet at this very moment, he would rather not have seen what he saw so clearly. At the other end of the entrance, beyond the gap that is about to shut, he spots a few familiar silhouettes. The silhouettes flash by until the gate closes completely and the last ray of light disappears behind its iron frame. Until darkness engulfs all of them. Feist tries his best to regain his footing. He feels the taste of blood spread throughout his mouth. He tries to swallow this blood stench, but finds himself unable to. He can't.
This isn't part of the plan. Who's over there on that side of the passage? What are they trying to do? What's the matter, Feist? Are your lips bleeding?
I know who it was on the other side.
They're my friends. The factory workers of munitions factory number 11. They said they were going to check if there was any equipment left that we could take. They're the ones who could have closed the gate. Tommy?
Catherine, this wasn't my idea. We all decided this together.
Just like when you saved me.
That's a whole separate thing, Catherine. Tommy, get back to work. Find a Defense Force soldier and tell him what happened here. Alright, I know where they are.
I have to say, your kidnapping skills are far worse than the sarkaz.
I'm not trying to look for trouble with you, Catherine. How many years have we known each other? There's no surprises here. But we don't want to die in the Londinium countryside, killed by those monsters arts either. I'm just a foundry worker. I can use the furnace, the choppers, and I could cast some passable parts. But now they want us to leave the city and fight a war with the dukes and the sarkaz? You've got to be kidding. Out of all the things that I've ever held in my hands, the only thing that even remotely looks like a weapon is my spanner. Catherine, I promise, it'll all be fine. I have an uncle who's in the defense forces. I can talk to him. See if he can plead on the factory workers' behalf.
What about the things we've done? We attacked the sarkaz.
We can say that it was the Self-Salvation Corps who did it. We had no choice.
Huh. And you think they'll believe you?
We may face harsher treatment after this, but as long as the dukes win this war, we can go back to our lives before. We forged Londinium with our own hands. Everything will get better.
You didn't used to lick the noble's boots like this.
What choice do I have, Catherine? Tell me, what choice do I have? I just don't want to leave my home. I just want to walk on the streets of Londinium again. Maybe play ball with my friends every now and then. I don't want to die in a shell crater in the countryside with my arms and legs all blown off. I've seen it before. The sarkaz, they will only get more and more brutal. My daughter might not even be able to put my dead body back together. Go, Catherine. I don't want to be rough with you. As for you, little leader of the resistance... Huh? Where did she go? There is only a rope that has been cut in the spot where Clovicia used to be. Huh? She was here just a minute ago. Where'd she... You mean to tell me you couldn't keep an eye on a little girl? It has to be some kind of arts. Whatever. Let her go. I heard she's just the daughter of a tailor. I just hope that she'll find a hiding place in Londinium's dark night. Meanwhile...
It stinks.
How many people do you think have died in the last couple days? Don't take the alley to the north. A few infected went kaboom there yesterday. There's originium dust everywhere. Those sarkaz bastards. Their plan was always to trap us in here and have us fend for ourselves.
You went to the transport union during the day. What did Marshall say?
The place could burn down. There are nothing but steel beams left. I don't know if Marshall was in the pile of dead bodies. I didn't try to look. Porties can't all be idiots and wimps, right? All this is us taking a punch directly, and we're still dazed. Once we come around, Norpor Burr will come back.
Perhaps the dukes will make it here soon, when the time comes.
What? When did you start worshipping the dukes? Are you hiding the Duke of Wellington's bloody autograph in your drawer now or something? We have to count on ourselves. We can leave this place. I will lead the charge, I swear.
The last time you swore anything, you told me you would never fall asleep while you stood night watch.
That was just,
Enough. Before we start dreaming, we have to find ourselves something to eat. We have Delphine and her tendency to hoard to thank for keeping the gym storerooms well stocked. Otherwise, we would likely be in this place of dead bodies too. Okay, they're fighting up ahead again.
Not here too. Let's take another route. Restaurants at the loading area might still have some supplies. We could try to buy something or trade.
What will you do if they don't want to sell? You brought a weapon.
This is just for defense. We won't use it. Things have yet to get that bad. That is some confidence from in there. Have yet to get that bad, huh? Anyway, we do have the addition of one new enemy here, which is the Armed Spy. A spy hired by a mysterious employer to sabotage their rivals while disguised as a civilian. They are more or less professional soldiers with training in gathering intelligence, and their reliable weaponry and ample combat experience make them even more of a threat. We then move on to stage 12-6, titled Whose War? When the sounds of cannon fire ring in their ears, soldiers and civilians alike ponder the same question. And considering there is a after part on this stage, we shall introduce our newest enemy first, which is the sarkaz absurdist tyrant captain. That is a mouthful to say, or should I say, that is an absurd amount of words to say for a single unit. A product of the cooperation between the Damazi cluster and the military commission, able to change their appearance with arts, they can skillfully manipulate their flesh without damaging their brains, and are used to employing their intimidating forms to gain an advantage in battle. Very tanky guy. Kinda hate him, not gonna lie. Anyway, let us proceed with the after part. I really don't have anything here. Bollocks! We saw it with our own eyes. You use your stove. Where did you get food? How come you have something to eat every day? I just found it by chance. Found it? Don't go overboard with him. If this guy gets an Oripafi attack, we'll all be dead. Where's your storeroom? Spill it! I really just found them. Someone has been leaving things on my windowsill. Still trying to hide. Are his words really so untrustworthy? Even the infected get lucky sometimes and find food, right? What's so strange about that? And who are you? Here to rob too? Hello, my name is Red. Back in my Ursa's days, they all called me Redblade. Pick up the pace. Stay close.
Hang in there, we're almost there.
Drat, there's more and more of them. White Wolf, I heard about you and your family. I'm glad to have the opportunity to fight alongside you today. For Londinium and for Victoria.
What are you trying to...
Don't stop. Keep moving. Sarkaz trader Victorian insects. It's high time we brought an end to this game of hide and seek. Where do you want to run? Is it death that you want to escape? You and your friends who are hiding in the shadows will all be torn to shreds. It's what you owe us. This is what everyone in Londinium, Victoria, and across the lands owe us. Run. Run! The storm will still arrive. You can't outrun war.
Shut your bloody gob. Too many people. We need to find a way to break through here. I only have one grenade left. Robin, take this grenade. Head down and blow up the bottom deck of power layer. Misery, protect them. The rest of you need to keep moving forward.
You... got it. Don't worry.
We leave the rest to luck.
Horn, you...
Shut up. I don't have time to pummel you again. Hurry.
Horn turns around and faces a wave of enemies surging on her position. She smirks a little. It is high time this all came to an end. All this fleeing, the battles, and these sleepless nights. Soldiers are meant to die in war.
I wonder what Bagpipe is up to right now.
She tightens her grip on her weapon and prepares to charge. Under the dark, cloudy sky, a strange sound can be heard zooming in ever closer from afar. A familiar sound, although it has been a long time since it was last heard in Londinium. It is only in their distant memories and fuzzy rumors that people can find that sound's source. That's... Warned, run. Take this chance. You're...
Rat, these doors, they're too thick. They can't hear us on the other side. They took Clovicia and Catherine. Are they trying to use them as bargaining chips with the sarkaz? These despicable traitors!
Shining, can you open them?
We can't delay any longer. We don't know when the sarkaz will make it here. I will give it a try. No, don't. Don't make a big show like that. That's only going to draw the enemy here faster. We have a bunch of critically wounded and non-combatants here. If we actually start fighting the royal court guys, even if we can get away, what about them?
We'd only be waiting to meet our maker by remaining here. I don't know what my friends are scheming, but my guess is they have more in mind than keeping us here. That was a typo. But my guess. Anyway.
My drone has a small laser cutting device. These steel plates may be thick, but if you give me some time...
How long will it take?
Keep your pants on. I need to test the output first. Feist, do you remember what happened to old Bill? It has to be one of those monsters. Got to have infiltrated us again. He fooled us again. We were too careless. We should have noticed sooner. Feist, are those sarkaz who can change their faces here too? When those things exist, how can we trust anyone?
What if that's not what this is?
They're our allies. They're Londinium workers too.
I know. I grew up with them. But what if this is their decision? This is the last choice that Tommy, Plato, and Day made with... This was the choice that Tommy, Plato, and Day made with everybody else.
But why? We're supposed to be on the same side.
It's easier to believe that your allies were replaced than to accept that they've betrayed us. But that's exactly what happened. I can tell what they were thinking, more or less. Once the rage-induced fervor dissipates, it's not so easy to choose to keep fighting. Clovicia said as much before too. In the end, we're just a bunch of normal people. I have to admit that even I fear leaving, just like them. Fleeing and covering is the most instinctive choice that all normal people make when they are confronted with war.
Then you stay. Stay here with your friends.
I won't do that, Rock. I have to face my fear. That's the only way I can remind myself of the worth of bravery. I have faith that they haven't crossed that line. I have faith that they were only sucked into this choice by fear. But none of it matters now. I will save Granny and Clovicia, just like I did last time. But our wounded can't wait much longer.
The drone's lasers working on the door already. It'll take 20 minutes maybe. I'll help too. I have tools on me. Your hammer and wrench aren't gonna come in handy here. Be patient, just hold on a little longer and we can leave this place safe and sound. What? I didn't catch any sarkaz movement?
Shining.
Oh, hey Shining. Been a while. I heard you went to a family reunion. W, you're here. W, half of Londinium heard that just now. The curtain's drawn, right? I've always been pretty accurate with my explosives. Just the right amount. I heard kal'tsit got beat up real bad, so I thought I'd find some time to come and take a look. Whoa, she did really take a beating. Theresis doesn't know how to hold back, huh? And here I thought the guy would go gentler on his old friend. She's still unconscious. Well, shit, that's too bad. For me, that is. Should I shed a few tears for her? Or maybe I ought to take this chance to make sure the old hag never crosses me again. Nah, that little shit's not that either.
I think Monster doesn't like her.
Still so nasty. Monster was very heavily damaged. It wasn't until 2 hours ago that it recovered its motor functions. I suggest you avoid provoking it. I'm saving its master's life. At the very least, it's gotta learn to treat me with a bit more respect. Otherwise... No, that's more like it. The Royal Corps fighters are heading this way. Quick, we gotta get out of here before they... Oh, quit your yapping, Closure. It hurts my ears. Whose fault do you think that is? If you're so worried, get your man to move double time already. I know a couple good spots outside the city. Wanna take a look?
Meanwhile,
with the supplies we have on hand, best case scenario, we should be able to last another week. What about worst case scenario? Alright, I get it. Kater and I will keep trying to come up with something. What is the situation like outside? A borough that normally has less than 10,000 residents suddenly finds its population surging multiple times over. No additional supplies, no police, no law and order. We're still alive, even after the last several days. We should be thankful that the citizens still have a shred of morality. It could also be because Kater's fists pack a punch. I don't deny that. Have you heard anything about what the Duke's plans are? I heard Duke Windermere's barracks aren't far from here. I'm sure they won't turn a blind eye to our predicament. I've heard rumors. Some said they saw a blaze surge through the night sky. We all saw that flying thing the sarkaz had. On the day we were cast out of Londinium, its shadow swept through the entire plate. My guess is that the Dukes are all very fearful of that, and they're only probing how to attack it right now. Of course, it's also possible that the outside world has gone to hell, and Londinium has been bombed to smithereens. Who knows? Maybe the Dukes don't know that there are still people alive here. Maybe they thought all of us died. If only we had a way to get word out. In what way? The intercity net is completely paralyzed. Hapless sods trapped in the lockdown zone like us should just worry about whether we'll have anything to eat tomorrow. It's hard to believe that just a few days ago we were still watching that awful Rankwood movie in the video shop. What was that movie called again? War of the Mutant Geeks? The ending was actually pretty touching though. I wouldn't know. I fell asleep. All I saw was the nomadic city getting blown up in the explosion at the very end. All I remember is that Mr. McLaren was awfully generous with his money. After all, we helped him deal with the video shop's troubles plenty of times. I only hope that he is doing well. the situation outside wouldn't do this, his neurasthenia, that's a word, right? Neurasthenia any favors.
Basically a disorder with your nerves.
I stopped by the video shop for a look. His door was sealed shut. Why did you always sleep in the video shop, though? I remember we met each other. I remember we met each other because your laughter woke me up. Sorry, but that movie was really funny. But to start, it was your fault for falling asleep there. There is no better place to sleep than there. That comedy director is really famous. I have all her...
An untimely growl that signifies hunger can suddenly be heard, shattering the easygoing atmosphere that the two finally managed to build.
Sorry. You've been eating too little. Your stamina won't last if you keep this up. It's okay. We need to carry on. The lives we had came to an end just like that. In an instant, this is what it all turned into. There are lunatics and dead bodies everywhere. There are the blockade walls that the sarkaz built. There have been men attempting to break through them the past couple days. Their brains are still hanging on the walls. I still don't understand. How did it... War has broken out, Baird. I know. But just because of those few weightless words, everyone's past disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. Whose war is this? The Dukes are trying to protect Victoria. All I know is that this war is not mine.
A small broken stir as well as the clanging of multiple cans can be heard from the shadows.
What are you doing? It isn't your turn to stand watch tonight. What's that you're hiding underneath your coat?
Stay back! Alright then, and we move on to stage 12-7, titled Discourse of Life and Death. Do not forget that while we debate the ultimate proposition of life and death, there is another group struggling between life and death and providing evidence for our arguments. Stay away, all of you, stay away! This gutless man suddenly pulls out something and brandishes it in the air. It's a fountain pen, and even in the dark, you can tell clearly just how fancy it's decorated. He's a scholar of heraldry, claims he could be the next fellow of the Royal Victorian Academy of Science. Maybe that's the pen from which all sorts of marvelous criticisms used to flow. But now it's just a pathetic, utterly shameful weapon, clutched in a trembling hand. With a clatter, a can falls out from his coat, which he hastily stoops to pick back up and hide again under his layers.
Sir, that's our last can of meat.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I can't carry on. I'm at my limit. This lockdown zone and the dust of the dead floating in the air, this rotting corpse stench, this... everything. I don't understand. Why should I be living out my days like this? I'm someone who means something. I should be waking up to the call of fowl, to a cup of coffee, and then to my writing desk and manuscripts. Why should I... Madams, I'm sorry, I'm aware of all the assistance you've afforded me, but... excuse me, really, please, but this isn't the sort of thing I should be doing. I used to take pride in my virtue. I was wonderful to my servants. I would tip double what anyone else would whenever we went out to eat. I can't carry on. I've had enough, really. I just can't make sense of this. I'm so confused.
Then you're free to put down that can you've got and be out of this place.
I can make a trade with you. I have some gems, Sargon origin, and a Sancta's patron firearm.
Which we don't need.
I'm begging you. I'm begging you. The man trembles and shakes harder and harder until finally his legs give out and he's kneeling on the floor. He's probably never begged someone like this in all his life. He's acting a comedic sight. He grips his overcoat with his knuckles so tight the place where he hides the can bulges out. It's like a weeping tumor parasiting off his body, or an unborn child more loved than it ever know.
Get on your way, man. Front door sealed. You know how to make a balcony exit. Baird! Let him go. Let him go. Get him the hell out of here, and that stupid bloody can with him. Never to return, why don't you? I'm worn. I'm done watching this happen anymore. I never want to see any of this anymore.
The timid man hurries to leave, stumbling, hesitating, like he doesn't believe this boxing gym owner / gang member would let him go so easy. Delphine stares daggers at him. He turns his head and subconsciously he feels about himself. He doesn't have a thing on him. Notes and coins are worse than useless in Norpor these days to boot. He grinds his teeth, drops down and leaves that guised up pen of his on the floor, then immediately turns and legs it into the darkness.
He's out.
Bear picks the fountain pen up and with no comment stows it in her pocket.
Delphine, come and let's touch heads. Keep for a bit. Just like the old days in the video shop.
Meanwhile, young girl, they say you're the merc freshly assigned here.
Yeah.
Nice luck then. You've got an easy job here. All you've got to do is watch that those Victorian guys don't cross the blockade line. If anyone makes trouble, you'll kill them.
Got it.
Yeah, let's give those suck-up Victorians the miserable days they deserve. If I was calling shots, I'd throw them a pile of hatchets or whatever and let them dispatch themselves instead.
I don't think the brief allows that.
You know how to rain on a parade, little girl. We're sarkaz. What does it matter to us if they live or die? We may as well find our own fun where we can.
But...
No, whatever. I'm going to take a nap, so you watch this place. If any accidents happen, I've got no reservations about taking your little head off, along with theirs.
He's gone.
And if you're watching the screen right now, yes, you're not imagining it. Look, it's Colonel Sanders, but without the glasses. I will not lie. The moment this old man appeared on screen, I bursted out laughing so hard. He's literally just missing the glasses. Anyway. Thank you, girl.
I didn't bring much out this time. There's some food and some medicine.
Oh, that suffices. Thank you. Thank you.
Why is it so weird for me to help you? You're a sarkaz. You're one of us. What if we talk to my officer, sir? You don't need to be staying with these Victorians.
No. I've lived here my whole life. This is my home.
Londinium is?
Any place you go, you find sarkaz, don't you? I took on running a hotel myself after you lot arrived here. I've never been to Kazda, little girl. Is that where you're from?
No, I've never been either.
Then where do you call home?
Home? I'm not that sure. I was born in Colombia, but my old captain said Kazda was the real home for us sarkaz.
even though you've never set foot there?
I don't know, but that's what all of them say.
I don't take much notice of what those soldiers like to tell us. Never mind going out killing with them. I'd rather get that chandelier in my hotel fixed. You should have seen it when it was still in good shape. I'm telling you. A crown of jewels to beat any dame's necklace. Not to mention all the effort I spent as a younger man hands-on polishing that thing to a spit shine.
You sure are one weird sarkaz.
Is it strange to be more fond of light fixtures than murder? I'm sorry, I confess I've never had much contact with mercenaries. But it more than comforts me that there are kind-hearted girls like you who'd bring supplies for me out here. Bye for now, child. I can't stay around here too long. If you ever get the chance in the future, you must come pay a visit to my hotel. 40, even 30 years ago, when Norport was still singing with life, the hotel on Sunset Street was the best place in all of Londinium to be.
I will. Maybe once we're done with this war?
Good. You'll have a secret invitation from me to try our best desserts. What, chicken? Shatter.
Such witchery has no purchase against us, Banshee. You've made more than enough attempts over these past days. It is time wasted. A true grasp of our cluster's nature is not yours. Your knowledge is wholly attained from study. Altogether parched is your personal experience. Perhaps you should lay down your pen of bone for one moment. We would like to simply take a walk with you. In the words of a good viscount we once became, the city offers no better time than the present. Walk slow. The footpaths about the city center are Londinium's pride.
Damatzi, what fate is it you wish to elect for yourself? You're profuse with incarnations and transformations. You believe death is always yours to outrun. I will perform your elegy for you in your hole.
Please don't look to scare us, Banshee. We know the methods at your disposal. We simply point out that an individual's death is not the end to us, just as a city does not metamorphose for a street's removal, nor does a civilization collapse for a written script's vanishing.
Yet any civilization will languish and decline.
And thus we value the renewal, the experience. We knew close to every one of your forebears, Banshee. All once were young, and all once were greatly, ardently aspirational as you are now. Perhaps there is no other way it should be. Perhaps it is by the elegy, the dirge, that transformation should be begotten. But they all became as dust in the end. Your cohort likewise cannot flee the knell at your nape.
Does your experience still draw you to that flame of ruination's side?
No, it doesn't. Already we have searched for countless years, and still we search for different looks, for different places. You are an extraordinarily master of witchcraft. May we bid you to grant this olden memory a pittance of a stage set? I sunk into Sargon's Sea of Sands for 100 years, the time when the King of Kings expedition had only just come to a close. Such exploits called to you to follow in their wake, especially before they've fully passed into legend. Banshee, stir those sandstorms for me, a Fata Morgana though it may be. I ask a meager moment of your precious time. Come, seek my origins with me. Let us submerge in them. Let us track together. Maybe you'll understand me, Or maybe I'll find myself in you. Prove yourself to me.
We will reach a conclusion, Damazi. Curtains.
Of course, obviously, this doesn't quite match up with what remnant memories I have, but I can't blame you. The wind scores all too many traces. It was here I built people's houses. Newfangled wonders like nomadic cities weren't yet to be, and the houses built of stones ultimately vanished into thin air within the sandstorms. Built, then destroyed, built, then destroyed. Most might tire after facing such a cycle, but in it, I was happy.
You linked this to civilization. This is the renewal you so enjoy?
No, not enjoy. That was a sloppy metaphor, no more. Ultimately, there is a construction to every civilization, and an ending. And yet I possess neither, though I so yearn to.
You aren't a stone. You're sand.
Sand. Yes, Banshee, I am sand.
Unable to be constructed. Its very own end. A state you're not content with.
I once became as a Lord Amir's continents, and met the King of Kings of that era. He proclaimed himself the Shah of past and future. That all answers to all creation lay in his golden trove of treasures. I asked him, Your Majesty, what meaning is there to all we surround ourselves with? Where will you lead us? He lifted his head high and proclaimed to me, My very thought is meaning. Such was his arrogance, his egotism, that basking in the light of the afternoon sun, he believed himself civilization's ruler. But all I could see was that, comically, he'd trodden on a corner of his own cloak. I was bored, and so I departed the place.
Meanwhile,
I'm very struck by the Duke's methods. Our squad's not a small one, but you infiltrated like you were walking into your own backyard. Those quick grapples of yours, and the mini illusion units. No wonder you got your own Londinium intelligence network established under sarkaz control this strict. You're free enough you can move between Londinium and this disused plate however you want.
Victoria is the most formidable nation in these lands. The Duke I'm loyal to is Victoria's worthiest of note. It's only natural we'd have our whole gallery of arts tricks readied.
Hope you don't turn them on us.
The Duke of Castor treats her friends very dearly. The airship's hidden somewhere on this plate. By our estimates, there should be an underground dock here.
Nothing more concrete?
We'll leave it up to you. You've got a little time before old Wellington and General Nachtseer start testing each other's strength, but a little's all you've got. I'm trusting you all to wrap this up in a satisfactory way. For me. And don't forget, this is a trade, Your Royal Highness Alexandrina, and you, Doctor of Rhode Island. Alright then. We do get one new enemy here. Well, I say enemy. It is one of the civilian lookalikes. Up until now we had the Norport civilian, but now we have the Norport spy. And it says here, military spies disguised as civilians in Norport Borough, lacking the communication channels to pass on their abundant intel. They were already helping their dukes learn about their rivals before the borough broke off from Londinium, and have seamlessly transitioned to spying on the Sarkaz army's movements after the military commission seized control. Alright, and we move on to the training stage, which will be only adding the title and description, which reads, Devil's Temptation. After 3 days without food, the devil gave the starving man a poisonous apple. Can the temptation to gorge himself overcome his fear of immediate death. Suddenly very biblical, again. All the units, so nothing new to add here, and we move on to stage 12-8, which carries the after story. And we do get one new enemy here on this battle stage, which is the Sarkaz Absurdist Operative Leader. Operatives attached to the military commission, primarily tasked with assassinating high-value targets. When on a mission, they often arrive before their subordinates to soften the enemy front lines with incredible speed, while simultaneously planning their next action. So let's continue.
It's really changed around here.
Ruins, corpses, and originium dust floating from the dead. I imagine your Rhode Islanders don't need be worrying about your protection, being neuropathy specialists and all.
This war has been treating new infected without end, and life under these circumstances can only make it harder. They've been thrown into this chaos without warning, and they may not realize how cruel a fall it is yet. That goes for the pain of their illness and the scars of war. But they'll know soon enough, and twice over. We all have a clear picture of how it infects and festers. How the people die in their confusion or amass in their hatred. And you've seen where that hatred leads, Doctor.
Reunion.
War's given people a great excuse. Without the veil of daily life, things could get even worse. Whatever reason it is, we need to stop Therese's. And Theresa.
Roger. It looks like we'll have to part ways for the moment. So goes our line of work. Always piles of things nagging at you to deal with them. Right, I think I'll be seeing you in a bit. Stay productive now.
Bleeding hell, he makes my hair stand on end. Not even all PC Withman ever made me feel so sick. Alright everyone, chin up. Welcome to the HQ of We Merry Glasgow Gangers. I mean, I can guarantee it was at least. Don't know how Baird's been running the gym since we left. Siege, Morgan, you're not got anything to say? Indra, love, I think I stepped on something. Huh? Probably just someone's pet scrapping for their street egg. The hell? Is that a...
Amiya, don't look.
I've seen already, Doctor. In those illusions from the past, I've seen sights still more tragic than the ones here. We are here precisely to ensure the situation doesn't unfold that far. The hated man led us here, then permitted us to act freely on our own wishes outside of the deal we made. His goal is clear to us. He knows we won't be content with letting all this be, and he hopes the people here will credit the Duke he serves with our actions. But I don't care. I don't care how the Duke wants to use us. I don't care what kind of prestige he's hoping to rake in. I don't care if this will impact some other Duke's fight for their people's affections, or compel them to act in whatever way. All that matters is, I cannot let this be. This isn't some disaster taking place in a country, in a city, in a neighborhood unrelated to us. This is happening to each and every living person. Trust has always been a fragile thing, collapsed in a moment, ever harder to rebuild. Quickly, Doctor. We might not have that many pharmaceuticals on us, but we have to make all the use of them that we can. There, that should be okay now. Sorry, I'm not a professional doctor. This is just some basic first aid. We've stabilized your uropathy symptoms and stopped your wounds worsening. That's all we can do for now. You need rest and supplements. After that, it's down to luck. Do you need us to bring you home?
No need. Hunger knocked me out, that's all. Just was sleeping for a bit on the pavement. What will you be wanting? I've got nothing to my name.
We don't want anything.
Nothing?
Go back home, sir. Here's some food. Keep it hidden. Don't let anyone else find it.
Who the... Alright, I'll be out of here then.
You've gone too long without food. Don't eat it too quickly. You need to let your bodily functions recover, bit by bit first.
Right, got it. Thank you.
Amiya, we have a lot of people staring at us. Most of them with ill will. 2 groups are planning their moves and readying Molotovs. I know. But at the same time, the desperate have seen us too, and the ones hiding themselves in the dark, deathly ill, so have they. Just the fact we're here might have been enough to relight a spark of hope in them.
After a violent collapse, any rebuild demands great care.
That's right, Doctor. We don't need for the people to trust us. We need them to re-establish their trust in each other. That's what underlies a society coming back to life.
Someone's coming.
Doesn't matter. I'm stood right here. I'll stand in front of you. This is our street, and we're pulling her back out of this chaos and danger and anger.
Doesn't matter who it is. Bring it on.
Mind yourselves. Here to come.
Hey! Is that?
Oi. What you don't fuss about nothing, Hannah. Nearly socked you straight in the gob. You'll not show off like a circus. You want everyone here targeting you? Come on, with me.
They're gonna run! Shit, the Glasgow got in first. Surround them!
Out of the way. Miss Ines, don't take them on. Not for now. I recognize a few of their lot. It's just the fear and tortures driving them mad. Nothing they need to pay for with their lives. Head to the alley we used to bunk off at for snooker. Same door as ever. Got it. Baird, we'll see you at home. Come with me.
Quick, gotta move on. Don't lose him. I haven't eaten for days. I can't run. On your bike and get out of here then. You'd eat dead people if you had any spine. I'm not your nanny. You wanna go? Who are those people? Huh? Who else are they gonna be? It's the Glasgow bastards. The Glasgow gang, are they? Are we getting them together, or am I getting you? No, I reckon I've seen them before. And that one in the uniform. Things here got more complex than I was predicting. I need to move fast. Is there a bigger ruckus in there today or something? Did a fire start again?
Should I go and take a look, sir? If a fire spreads...
Then it's no skin off your nose, little girl. Do your own job. Don't let me see anything funny. No one's going to look out for you here.
Aye, aye, sir.
Sir, what brings you here in person? There's nothing you need to worry about here. It's all under control. Paying no heed to the sarkaz soldier's report, Manfred walks over to the foot of the blockade zone's wall, gazing far off at the buildings within. Is something off, sir? war continues to proceed smoothly. Paprika, what have you witnessed in these past days?
They've just been slaughtering each other. No, it's not even that, really. They've just been so scared.
Fear and mistrust divide a people. Pacts, customs, and morals all collapse forthwith under extreme conditions. The Khasdal of old attested to that.
Khasdal.
Hence do our two leaders take a stand.
You mean...
What if I were to ask you, what can bind a people?
Maybe patience? We can try and win people over or use our own kindness to move others. I think as long as you have enough time...
She failed. Any ties that such things build are too frail. But he told me the most efficient thing is hate. Manfred throws an indifferent glance at the young mercenary girl, her breasts bound tight by nerves, daring only to stare at the tips of her own shoes. You have persistently been sharing your own supplies with those behind the blockade.
No, that was a sarkaz. I thought...
What? How could you? Sarkaz who serve Victoria should make you even more sick. Sir, I assure you I will immediately... Continue. Sir? We cannot have everyone inside dying of starvation yet. In time, they will be of great use to the military commission.
Not much has changed around here. Morgan, all your graffiti's still up. I'm looking now. My standards must have been terrible back then. You haven't got much better, though. Oh, you wanna go, Hannah?
As the two argue, Siege and Baird look on, then make brief eye contact and break into laughter, shaking their heads. If you overlook the sealed-up entrance, the boarded-up windows, and the wariness in their expressions, it might all seem like nothing's changed. But everyone knows deep inside, we haven't changed is self-consolation at most, a kind of illusion. Every minute and second that's ever passed has left an unquestionable mark on them.
Long time no see, Baird. True that, Vina. Long time no see. The fact you're still around and kicking is probably the best news I've heard in a long while. I've never said die, you know that. That I do. Vina, I'm just as happy to see you back here. Happier than I could imagine. I always believed you'd come back. We put up the sign for the slobber knocker together and all, back in the early days. Just it's been hard for me to grin and bear it in these times. I know. And I know you didn't come back just for my sakes. 5 whole years ago you scrambled out of here. I remember Norpor was practically open season already. All those bastards after your neck. I wasn't ready then. I didn't want to tow anyone else into my business. It was leave or nothing. So, you're back here now. Back on our street. Now you're ready. I hope I am. The Rhode Islanders want to look for that Sarkaz airship here. I'll be assisting them as a Rhode Island operator and all. But I've never stopped being a member of the Glasgow gang. I'll get you out of this mess. That's my duty to you. Always has been. Same as ever you are, Vina. Not one bit different. Just like it used to be, eh? Just there's one thing. I don't know if...
Baird, you're skint on supplies as is. They're bringing all these people. You want everyone to split up once we're done eating? Are you hoping I'll go rob some blockhouse with security up to here?
Shut it with that cater. Although our stockpiles definitely... Please, it's okay. We've brought rations with us. We even have some surplus. Not the biggest amount, but even though enough to put us out of dire straits for now. We can change this zone together. As long as we can unite everyone on the plate.
Unite? Listen, Goddess Runt. Unite is an easy word to toss around, but you lot are more than welcome to try. Fingers crossed. You're what makes the difference. Alright, and we move on to stage 12-9, titled Years of Passion. No matter how I look at them, something about these old clothes seems off. Did someone wash them for me?
This room. Take a look, Dagda. This is our old home. Oh. Must have been pretty good living here. No shit it was. Hannah never did the cleaning though. Oi, Vina. How many more times do you want me to fess up to my mistakes? I dropped in now and then after you left. Tidied things a little. Been a few years, but shouldn't be much different than it was. My whole stash is still here. Always knew you were tight-paired. Fancy me having to be the poor girl left behind. Don't give me that, Baird. You told us you were going to stay. How you need to be in your own bed. Be shambling the moment you were out of Norport. Yeah, well, maybe I should have tried and put up with it. Stop that! You think I don't know you? We're all stuck in hell when you can't sleep. If I'm tired enough to go 6 feet under, the last thing I want is you trying to chin-wag with me again. Well, I've been falling asleep just about anywhere these days. What, too tired? Might be. Just found out sleeping's the best way to empty your head. Once my Rhode Island mission's done, Baird, I'll bring you a lot out of here. All of you. Here. Let's pop some bottles to celebrate getting back together after all these years. It's cheap stuff, but hey, maybe leaving it so long made it better? Morgan, give Baird a read of those books you wrote. Tell her about our adventures. Hey, Baird, you're missing your chance to become part of the King's Chronicles. Morgan, what's wrong? You've been pale as a sheet this whole time. You finally made it home. You ought to chin up a little. I'm thinking about the hand I stepped on. It was probably just some accident. It had a thumb ring on it. Something's telling me I've seen it somewhere before. I feel like I should remember, but I just keep drawing a blank. Baird, what's been happening in Norport all these days? Not much, Morgan. Maybe it was just an accident. Everyone's been trying their hardest to survive, that's all. It's in the past anyway. You're back now. We'll be out of here soon. That's enough for us. Norport's our home. I used to picture what it'd be like when we came back. I thought we'd spend our first night pilling into that snooker place and play until the sun came up. Then go drinking next door until it all went dark. Or maybe we'd go to McLaren at the video place and reserve all the seats and end up watching 10 whole adventure movies back to back. I saw it, but I didn't dare look properly. All that broken glass caked with the blood and the shadows all over the ground inside. You should get a proper kip, like me. Must be shattered after coming all this way. Vina, you've got that realm blade now. You'll be the hero, yeah? You'll save Norport. We'll save Norport. This is all just past, right? Of course. We'll take back our old lives. Maybe if... Nah, look how late it is. Get some rest, muckers. We've got mountains to deal with tomorrow. Baird's right, Morgan. We all need to get some proper rest.
Siege huddles up on the sofa. She used to spend countless nights here. Every inch of it feels as familiar as ever. She still remembers how they picked up this couch at the flea market all those years ago, the four of them breaking their backs to carry the bloody piece of tat all the way to the gyms upstairs. She reckoned it pretty wide back then, but soon enough she was resting her feet on the armrest just to fit. In the dark, Siege's hand brushes over the sofa, feeling each nook and cranny. Here's the gash left from when Hannah was practicing with her knife. 3 whole days she felt guilty about that. Morgan spilled a whole bottle of drink here. She bought a tin of awful cleaning stuff to treat the stain, and it got worse the more she tried. The whole patch is still smooth as a baby's bottom to this day. Bear put the iron down here and forgot about it. Nearly burned the whole room down. She used to believe these days would never change. She used to be sure these days would never change. This is their Glasgow gang, their neighborhood, their stomping grounds, their home. It's true, she is back. But deep inside, she is not one bit happy. That memoir of Morgan's crosses her mind again. The legendary Vina and her legendary mates. Siege gently touches the size of kings, resting by her side. As ice cold as it ever was. Leader, hero, king. King of the Siege, Vina. Alexandrina Vina Victoria.
Something on your mind, Vina? These clothes are too heavy. I can't catch my breath sleeping in them. I'm looking for stuff that fits me better. In that drawer.
Back to her usual stuff.
Haven't gotten any taller, hmm? Come on, we're adults. We stopped growing ages ago. You never know with these things. I remember when we first met, you were only about this tall. Enough, enough. It's the same old guff you always spout about time passing. I haven't had anyone in years to tell that same old guff to. I'm sorry, Baird. I'm just glad you're back, Your Majesty Vina. Don't call me that. Alright. King of the Siege. Same as ever then.
Meanwhile, in another place. What is it, Lady Ermengarde?
Don't call me lady. I'm not that old yet.
I'm sorry, Miss Ermengarde? I'm not quite sure how old you liches are.
Forget it. Lady Ermengarde will do. This high-speed battleship really has been reduced to tatters. And the vampire's cohort gave this place a bathing too.
General Manfred says this is going to be the start of the sarkaz's victory.
Sarkaz victory. And old Dame kal'tsit kept warning me a future like this wouldn't bring anything about for us. Still, I just can't figure it out. Why would my tutor have had a feline friend for so long? We're leaving. I hate the stench of this place.
Come with me, please. Her Highness Theresa is waiting for you. Back to the Glasgow hideout.
Doctor, good morning. We need to make some plans for our upcoming operation. The sarkaz are treating the citizens as insurance that they won't be directly artillery struck, but whether the military commission or the dukes, we can't truly count on their benevolence in this. And even if we ignore the game that's going on between them, we're still bearing witness to the terrible state the blockade zone is in.
You've seen the state of chaos Norport is in these days. Far easier said than done to change the status quo. That medicine and stuff you brought with, I gave it a count. Afraid it's only a drop in the bucket.
Right, what you can accomplish is going to be very...
Pardon?
Right, what you can accomplish is going to be very limited with our help alone, but that's no reason for us to hold back. Investigation of the airship and evacuation plans for the plate citizens are simultaneous work for us. We can't afford to overlook anything. What's the matter, Miss Delphine? You will not have the chops, right? You wriggled through the sarkaz's blockade to get here, so I'm guessing it's as easy for you to slip back out. I can say with pride that those gathering here now are all extraordinary operators of Rhode Island, but I'm very sorry, Miss Delphine. I think we may not live up to what you're imagining. When pitted against those steering the war from behind the scenes, we may very well be called puny. So you only got here thanks to some help?
Unfortunately, it's a deal, as the man loved to put it, and not a fantastic one at that.
Are you a sarkaz? Didn't think a duke would have found another sarkaz lot to work with instead.
Someone thinks too much.
No, I just read the papers usually.
Very good habit.
You're still planning to evac right now, aren't you? Did your fancy pants backer agree to help?
Sadly for you, no. All signs say she doesn't care.
But you lot obviously do.
Welcome to Rhode Island. I'm keeping my options to myself, though. My concern is whether we can get out of here alive.
Then I have a proposal. Rhode Islanders, this may be a bit of a risk. The sarkaz have locked down every information channel out of Norport, and I think I can guess what their excuse to the wider public is. And see, I trust any of the dukes to know it is nothing more than an excuse.
But they won't spoil the facade themselves. In fact, the dukes and the military commission of Casdell have a quite understanding of that. Yes, the sarkaz are using this plate's people as an excuse. Aren't the dukes? My guess is if the sarkaz did slaughter every last soul here, a few dukes would be breathing a sigh of relief. In a war, some only see ethics as a burden.
Yeah, you're not wrong. So we go and break that silent understanding. We need to give some of the dukes a push, make them act more decisively. But we're all dead here for real.
Meanwhile,
days it's been, Golding, and still not a word from you. You're not this reticent a person, as far as we know.
How are the Londinium Citizens Salvation Corps?
They've left the city.
How many of them are left?
Not many, I wager.
Fine, back to your silence. Does it bring you any peace?
I'm simply remembering them. Remembering them all.
Enough, Golding. You don't belong to them by nature. And you're free in any case to forget that insubstantial sense of affiliation. It wasn't your hands that killed them. Most simply, dude just die in war. You even came up with a word for it. Sacrifice. And most of these names, the people hiding behind them, you've never so much as met. Does becoming a member of a collective instill joy or pride in you?
Regretfully, as you've seen, we can only belong to ourselves in the end. No, I used to believe that. At first I believed I thought for our shared dream, for the Self-Salvation Corps cause. In these past days I've realized that might not have been the case. Leto was right. We are all the same kind. I told him he was pessimistic, yet look at me. Whether I admit it or not, I'm someone who despairs easily myself. The Corps members may fight with pure ideals in heart, but the Corps itself does not. Take Clovicia or Allerdale. Both women I respect for their character, yet their aims extend far beyond what they claim out loud. For a very long time I pretended to be blind to that. It delusions, you know. You finally realize your undertakings were marred since the start. You feel your efforts were all in vain. Hardly. You see, I don't have any cause on my mind. I'm just thinking of the people. Faces upon faces. Heidi, Feist, Rock, Old Bill, Adams, Little George. I have no standing and no right to say I should repent for the Self-Salvation Corps. I don't belong to any illusory collectives of the sort. But I need to come face to face with every one of them, inside myself.
That is a statement. Anyway, we do have one new enemy here to add to our never-ending collection of enemies, and that is the Armed Spy Master. A spy hired by a mysterious employer to sabotage their rivals while disguised as civilians. They use their sharp intuition to judge the appropriate time to join the fray, and are able to resolutely execute their well-prepared plans. Anyway, we move on to stage 12-10, and our background now shifts. And its title is Broadcast Hotline is Busy. You're standing right here. How come your voice is in the broadcast? And considering this is a stage with an after story, we do have two new enemies to add to our list once again. We have the Sarkaz Absurdist Operative. Operatives attached to the military commission, specializing in gathering intelligence and softening the enemy front lines. The actual leaders of this unit are a mystery, and are surprisingly always the first to show up wherever the military commission is operating. The other one is the Sarkaz Absurdist Splitcaster Apprentice, a product of the cooperation between the Damatsi Cluster and the Military Commission. Under the guidance of the Damatsi Cluster, these extraordinarily gifted Sarkaz have learned to split themselves in two with art. However, every split places a heavy burden on the caster's body, and each imperfect replica merely makes them an easier target on the battlefield. So then, let us finish off with the after part.
W, perhaps you could drive a little slower. Oh, tragically, wounded Dame won't hang in there much longer, Shining. Hold on tight, everybody. Incline ahead! A ride this rough likely won't benefit kal'tsit's recovery in any way. So what? Theresis couldn't hack her to death. You think a little bad suspension's gonna be what does it? The roads here suck. Passing through a bomb crater, guys. You could steer around. Too late! I'm going in!
I think Monster doesn't like the ride.
Yeah, kal'tsit Jr., now get your claws off me. You're free to screw off of the car and drag your sorry little master behind us. Your choice. Got something ticking in your metal skull? You can try it. I'll play ball with you. Or maybe I should just throw you off and make roadkill out of you. W, we're in a hurry. This hack can cough a single word at anyone right now. And look at how sad and distressed your stupid wimpy pet is. I've never felt this good in my life. Don't you want to get payback on your boss? Medical apartment shit steer, kal'tsit, reduced to this? She's my patient now. You're boring as ever. Tell Closure and her circus troupe to follow on our route. With the dukes and the sarkaz duking it out, I'm the only one who still knows where to find an opening. You're very familiar with the terrain and situation. How do you think I survived the past few years? What, did you picture me swimming in Londinium's sewers? A merc's got her ways. Once we're through these ruins, we'll hit our destination. Is she already there? You've got my word. I never missed the chance to make someone owe me. But pushing the wheelchair is not on your base plan. I get an extra favor for that. Fine. Oh yeah, what's the deal between you and the hag? Dragging an incap into Londinium is a pretty terrible idea. She's my... No, I am her sin. A comm station? We need to broadcast our existence out there.
It'll be an invitation.
Right on the money, Doctor of Rhode Island.
The dukes need to know about this. If none act, it gives any other dukes fodder against them. When the crown's vacant, everyone will want to be airtight.
You know Victoria better than I imagined. Where can we find the comm station? The signal hub for this place got wrecked by the sarkaz right off the bat, but I know of a small station we might still be able to use. It's in a pub. Best house in all of Londinium before Norport went to pot. They set up a signal transceiver with mad high power in there, so they could get ahead of what their guests from all over wanted. It looks like stones fell and blocked up the holes outside of it, but if we can find a way in and use the gear that's still left in there, then I think it'll be an extremely dangerous op. Going by what you've told us, we're in luck if that sorry station still works, after which we couldn't even encrypt the outgoing signal. Bang on, it's an old civilian model. No matter who hears, they'll know what we are trying to say in a flash. And the sarkaz will immediately act. We've just got to gamble on the dukes not wanting a preventable massacre to their name. Besides, I'm trusting some duke out there will want to step up proper. After all, they're not going to want a Victoria in ruins themselves. The Duke of Windermere, for example. She could be one of them, yeah. Interesting. Looks like you do read plenty of newspapers, Delphine. Doctor, Amiya, I believe this plan is feasible. We need to inject a little chaos to shatter the deadlock. One or more dukes on the offensive can be a smokescreen for us, whether it's finding where that airship is located, or creating conditions for the people to evacuate their abandoned plate. Then before we do, we need to put an end to the pointless infighting and cutthroat slaughter in this lockdown zone. We need to give them a reason to reunite.
Letting everyone know hope still exists, for example.
Yes. If we can make headway on that and distribute the remaining resources here to those who need them most, then maybe we can hold out for even longer. We're building broken trust, just like you said.
Real or fake, hope is still hope anyhow. So, that's your genius plan? Go to an old pub for an old comm station and beg the dukes outside to save us because we're all that meat in here? Incredible. I might want to applaud you a lot.
If you have any good ideas, you can give them right now, Cater. Aside from charging past the sarkaz blockade walls.
Just didn't think after becoming thieves and conmen, we'd finally be groveling on the ground to all those snot-nosed blue-blooded boys and girls.
If you don't like the idea of it being a mayday, you can think of it as a wager instead.
Oh, look, what a lead word, wager. Oh, we're off making a wager with the people in their castles now. Lucky us.
And you can choose to keep robbing people in the street. I won't stop you.
Pick what you want to talk about.
Cater, I know you care about your dignity like nothing else, but now is not the time for it! If the Dukes attacking can help us, then inviting them is an option.
Alright, you thought of the consequences. The Dukes help us, bang up, then what? We hop on their warship to march for Great Londinium, or do we become their subjects, sticking ourselves in Castle of Wellington's factories to feed ourselves to lathing machines? This is not going to do us bloody favors. We are about to sell our lives to the bloody nobles! Say goodbye to being Berties anymore. We'll be asylum seekers for them to snuff out as they feel.
And we aren't right now! Cater, do you think we're the free and happy people of Norport right now? War broke out! We're in the middle of it! Do you want to tell me that you think once a hero descends from the sky to guide all porties together, with you to crush the sarkaz outside just like you've been dreaming, that everything can return to how it was? Dignity. Look at us, Cater. We know full well what the hell we've done. Shit, what's happening?
In the street, they're all armed!
Okay, no panic. We need to clear this up. Do they not want to live anymore? Who still has the strength to scrap this heart? Every gang sheltering in Norbert should be in the same boat as us in terms of low supplies.
Through the boarded up window, all that can be seen is still live smoke. Then hollering and cursing coupled with crying and begging. The sort of thing they've had to tune out these days. Blind eye, deaf ear. But this time it's not brief clamor from a dingy alleyway. It's not following nervousness or hesitation, or any attempt at cover or disguise. Within the smoke, a luggage trolley nonchalantly rolls down the street, very well the previous property of some inn, a past life of conveying suitcases big and small, belonging to guests from all corners. Now pushed out amidst the dust by the explosion's aftermath, it becomes the focal point where everyone's gaze gathered, the target of all their ardent desires. Atop the trolley is a stack of supplies full to bursting. Box upon box of tin cans, clean water, rations, rough yet oh so sweet.
That's...
Her voice fails and falters. She finds herself unable to avert her eyes. I need this food. Get lost! You get lost! God's sake, I don't need you here. You can't eat that much. You can split a bit with me. Come on, just a few rolls of bread'll do. Take your hand off the stuff first. The crowds are quarreling, ripping and tearing, the luggage freewheeling from one group's hands to another. People fall, climb back up, throw themselves at their mountain of hopes, each with a wish to get their share from it. But most end up empty-handed. Bloody hell! Where'd all that shit even come from? Half an hour more and they'll be killing all their own! Hey! Stop! Stop!
Stay back, for now. They won't hear what you're saying. We can't.
Baird notices a silhouette slip past her.
Siege!
Siege's hammer smashes fiercely against the ground, the turbulence blowing away the dust and stench of blood throughout the street. She takes in the people before her, and they give her death stares back. Siege! What are you here for? What are you doing?
I recognize you. LJ, your three brats doing alright?
Alright! We can find out once we see them. Just die first, or maybe I will. It's fine for them. They're free. No need to fight over scraps like the brutes we are. They died a clean and honest death. So, Siege? Gonna be a saint? Send me to see them?
We don't have to do this. There's no point going knives out at our own neighbors here.
There's all the point. It's the point and then some, Siege. A roll of bread means I live through tonight. If my luck's good, tomorrow night too. Aren't you hungry? Aren't you perched? Do you even have the energy to choose? Because that tells me it hasn't tormented you enough. You're not even part of this. Give me an answer, Siege. Why don't you? How much hope are you looking to steal from me? I could never beat you before, but now I can.
No, stop, sir! You're not casting, you're destroying your own body. Your increased arts assimilation is just a pathological result of acute infection. We can help you, please stop!
Show off, you self-respecting do-gooders! Either go back and hide in your houses or join the bloody fight! Everyone wants to survive and this is the most reliable method I know! Shit, LJ! You want me to pound you flat that badly? Alright,
Save it! God's sake, enough! Her Royal Highness Alexandrina Vina Victoria is here! Morgan! Progeny of the Aslan King, Her Royal Highness Alexandrina Vina Victoria has brought back the size of kings!
Victoria? Siege, your surname was Victoria? That sword's the size of kings? But, well, I always suspected you weren't an ordinary feline.
Per Her Royal Highness's demand, the Duke's forces have begun to advance their way here. Those sarkaz won't hold them off, even if they throw in the ship. We're safe now. Delphine, even you...
Royal Highness? Siege, you were bloody royal family? The Dukes, they're finally... Siege. No, Your Royal Highness Alexandrina. I have to,
Acute neuropathy symptoms. I'll prep an inhibitor injection straight away. He's in terrible condition. You see, we have medicine too. We just need to hold on a little longer. That's right. Just a little longer now.
And this is where we're gonna end with the story for today, but we have one more thing to cover, and that is the entry that unlocks after we beat stage 12-7. And this time we get a proof of science. And it says here, this metal tag isn't something I picked up from a pile of corpses. No, it was personally given to me by a respected scholar as thanks for saving the future of Victorian heraldry. Let me be clear, the title of Master Scholar is too modest for such a man of culture. He also went out of his way to correct me, saying that I cannot call him Master Academician yet, but he clearly is no different from those bigwigs in the Royal Academy of Sciences. It was purely by chance that I met this scholar. I was doing some cleaning beneath a bridge, which just happened to be the place where this bloke planned to cut his life short. There's no point jumping from there anymore, as ever since the devils arrived, a whole mountain of bodies have been thrown down there. Besides, how could such a respectable person meet his end here? I quickly pulled the Master Scholar back from the edge and told him to look someplace else. But he suddenly became excited, saying that he ought to read more and finish writing a book of some sort. I didn't dare ask, so the Master Scholar gave me this shiny tag on his own, in exchange for a charcoal pencil. To be honest, what I wanted most was the canned food he had hidden on his person, but how could I steal from such a respectable person? I couldn't afford to muck up the reputation of our cleaners' labor union. The Master Scholar also promised that he'd credit me at the end of the article and asked me to see him at the address he provided after the article was published. he'd give me a large sum of money in exchange for me returning this metal tag. Extremely generous, as expected of an upright person. I was moved when I saw the Master Scholar leave with a spring to his step. There are still cultured people left in this country, which means hope is still alive. When I was polishing the metal tag in the morning, I suddenly remembered that I couldn't understand a word of the newspapers those old geezers read every day. Where in the bloody hell would I go to get my money from that scholar? And for the metal tag it says, at the closing ceremony of the 3rd Columbian Heraldry Conference, a young no-name scholar had the opportunity to give a speech in the place of his instructor, who received an award. The instructor then gave the medal to the young scholar, encouraging him to become a rising star in the field of Victorian heraldry. For a time, the bond between teacher and pupil became the talk of the town. And yes, this is a story about our oh-so-graciously guy who left with food under his coat and left the pen behind. Look, it's understandable why he acted that way. He's panicked. He's just a normal person who was thrusted into something he never can cope with, because he never experienced any kind of probably super hardship like everybody else did, but or rather like most people did. So he's an idiot, but you know, kind of understandable. But yeah, this was a story about him, and apparently he was about to take his life. I don't know how to feel about that, but anyway, which, funnily enough, it is the representation here, and now I'm kind of wondering what the other stories are gonna be, but we'll see soon, because our first story was about the baker, this one was about a guy jumping from a bridge. The next 3 are very interesting then in that reform. We have a shovel, alright, we have a top hat, good day to you all, I don't know, and we have something like a prism? I guess we'll see. Anyway, this will be it for today. Many things have happened, you could say. Our Steam Boy is out and about and wreaking havoc, which means the door is open, which... Is she alive now? Is she actually out as well? We'll see, I guess. I do not know. Guess I'll continue reading and prepare for the next recording. Red is in town, so that is one of the associates that 9 is in search of, and yeah, lots more, and we've left on a little bit here where Morgan blew her fuse and just proclaimed, hey, this is your Royal Highness, all of you shut the fuck up. But yeah, let's see where this is gonna go next time. Gonna work on the next part as soon as possible, so you guys won't have to wait for too long, as always, and yeah, boy, this is building up to a lot of stuff, and it's probably just a preparation for the next chapter to come along. Very interesting, W is back, and she is as crazy pants as ever, on top of it, and I love her and Monster finding some sort of understanding. That is special. Let's put it that way. That is some special sauce right there. But yeah, anyway, this will be it for today's part. As always, thank you very much for watching and listening. And as always, if you've liked this video, please consider leaving a like on it and a favor, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. All of these things help in the algorithm, so thank you very much. And of course, comment if you want to add something or ask about anything. I will make sure to read, as always, and answer them. And if you're so inclined, there are also memberships on the channel if you want to support the channel and my work more directly. And as always, no video will ever be locked behind memberships. They're literally just there to support the channel more directly. And yeah, thank you very much for listening and watching, like I said, and I hope you have a fantastic day wherever you are, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.